of everything. I'm just going to click buttons. Click button here, and click button here, and click button here. And hello, everybody, and welcome to Discussing Tabletop. And it's, of course, September 9th. 29th. Was I say 2019? 2023. My brain not works well today.
We're back to 2019, everyone. Get ready for murder hornets and quarantine.
No, I said this back in time. Maybe we can make the timeline better. I don't know. Anyway, who knows?
I found it.
Oh, I did. I screwed up everybody. Let me turn this on and off again. It's working. At least me. There we go. So there's a little bit of a docket today. I don't have the docket, but we'll start with the basics. I've got two things we can hit up. But the first one, it's just a small thing to talk about briefly. Is that I guess someone who you can call is a very important character in Magic the Gathering has passed away. It's the guy that basically came up with, or helped come up with, the idea of Commander, the format that everybody plays nowadays. So, Sheldon Menery passed away. You know, if you play Commander, you know, if it wasn't for him, you might not be. He basically helped create the format that everybody loves and play, and is probably one of the reasons the game is still played now, gotta be honest. If it wasn't for Commander, Magic might have faltered at this point in time. So, it's a loss. Anyway, the big thing to talk about today, though, is Player's Handbook Playtest 7 for D&D, which I will, someone can put a link for that there.
I had a link directly to the thing. I don't know if this has anything to do with link to my account or something. Probably not, honestly.
You usually have to sign into an account or have an account for that.
I literally just signed up before this because I'm just like, why not? I should have it. And Diamondwyrm was taken as a username, and I'm mad.
It just links to the. They're just hosting the PDF online, so it just takes PDF hosting.
Yeah, I assumed it was something like that.
Anyway, so
the beefy document, 54 pages of most of partially changed content. It is.
That's a good way of describing it. Partially changed.
If you have read through the Player's Handbook for 5e, all you have to do is read the designer notes for this document, and then go read those specific things, and that's what's different.
So it's not really like a huge difference, you'd say, or would it be like?
It is a generally speaking, it is a difference where you want to take those differences because they're in your favor as a player. Mm-hmm. For the Barbarian, Rage, that they did this in Playtest 5 when the Barbarian was first shown in the playtest, but Rage now lasts for 10 minutes, and the ways that Rage continues is through a bonus action every turn. You attack someone, or you make someone make a saving.
Okay.
And there are videos about it's like, we wanted to make sure Barbarian players, they keep their rage by them doing something rather than something being done to them, right? That was like that design philosophy. But
see, I actually really have to agree with that one, because this is something just speaking. Oh, sorry. There we go. That should be full screen. Thank you. I was checking a different window. I just started playing a Barbarian character, and the fact is, when you're playing the original and you have to be like, well, I might lose my rage because I can't attack.
That's when you punch yourself. If you don't use your action to dash. That's
it just feels like that.
The screen's still black.
Why is the screen still black?
Ooh, are you not focusing on Discord?
Let me just check to see if these. Yeah, this one. There we go. That's weird. It was slightly off kilter, but apparently, like, even that one, it's like when I clicked it to get it not. If I don't have the window full screen, it doesn't permanently block it out. And that one, it was just. It wasn't full screen, but it was full enough to block. Whatever. Anyway, back to Barbarians. It's enough of weird technical issues that maybe one day I'll be able to figure out how to fix.
Yeah, but so that's the biggest difference for Rage. It lasts 10 minutes as well, which is huge. That means Rage, if you're in a dungeon, you can go through most of the dungeon, which is
That's
really
actually-
great
yeah.
because
That is nice that you just have to take a bonus action to extend your rage.
yeah, well, the biggest thing there is that this was a legitimate problem for barbarians. Is that at level 1 and 2, right? You have 2 rages. They last 1 minute. That's 2 fights period. And in a dungeon, if you have more than 2 fights, your barbarian is now just like a worse fighter with like terrible AC, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now in this case, that's less of a problem. It extends. That's really nice for barbarian. And they could, they need a little help.
So it doesn't have a time limit? It doesn't have a time limit? I thought it might.
No, it's
It
10
lasts
minutes.
until the end of your turn. You can maintain rage for up to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
So
like
10 minutes.
I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Right, like that's everything before a short rest, unless you're solving a puzzle, right? Unless there's a exploration encounter that comes up between combat encounters, right?
Yeah.
Which depends on what you run into. Usually, if I see a puzzle, I'm like, let's come back to that later. Let's go find other enemies to deal with, because you don't really want to solve It doesn't make sense in character usually to solve a puzzle if you think there's violent threats around. You usually want to handle those first. But your characters may differ. That's
Yeah.
But
you never know what players are gonna do, so who knows?
Yeah. Barbarians in the last playtest, and it continues in this playtest, they get an extra skill proficiency at level 2. And then now this thing is still it's a little weird, but think of barbarians as channeling magic through their rage, because they're a very magical class. Their second level ability, Primal Knowledge, whenever their rage is active, they can use their strength instead of the other ability scores for acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, and survival. So that means a barbarian will be, while raging, very perceptive, which makes sense, very good at tracking, which, that fits the archetype. Stealth, that one's a little more humorous, but you gotta think they're channeling nature to help them become a really good hunter, right?
Okay.
Barbarians are hunters.
that one's
It's
a little weird.
It's a little weird. Okay,
It's a little
that's
weird.
The only one
I do
kind of
like the
what?
idea
But-
that it's still channeling strength, which is really hilarious. It's like, I'm so angry, I'm going to punch you much better.
Yeah, listen, it's a little humorous for stealth, but the other one's survival, perception, intimidation, acrobatics. I think those are all very
the shadows until it covers me.
like, reckless attack got changed in a very good way. Instead of the weird restriction where it only applied on your turn, it now applies to the start of your next. Meaning, if you have an opportunity attack, Sentinel, Polar Master, right, where you can use your reaction to attack someone, you get advantage on that attack.
Oh, and they have. I don't know if they changed this in the last playtest, but I do see it here.
I thought that was already the case.
Nope. In normal 5e, it lasts till your turn ends. Which
And the thing,
most people, a lot of people probably forgot that and just figured because the penalty lasts till your turn starts. So everyone just assumed it was that way. I assumed that was for a while, but it's not written like that. That's just, but it's changed now to a more reasonable.
Yeah, well, at least now it's a bit.
I
I think I ran it like that because whatever.
Yeah, well, the other thing here is
I would run it like that.
It's attack rolls that use strength too, which means it's like one of those things is, oh hey, again we were playing with the barbarian. I'm like, I can't throw with my reckless attack. This would be helpful for my javelins because this is what I do. But now I could javelin recklessly.
They changed that in the last playtest, which I forgot to mention. That's completely correct.
Okay.
In normal 5e, it's only melee weapon attacks, which is unarmed strikes and then any melee weapon you're attacking with. And now it is any strength-based attack, which is great. That means throwing javelins recklessly, let's go. Hand axes, improvised weapons, goblin bodies, right? You'll have advantage.
Like it all.
Right?
Yes.
Other than that, they ported in the Feral Instincts feature at level 7, which was in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which gives you I think that's what they
Advantage
merged.
on initiative rolls. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the one, or... Yes. And also Danger Sense, that did get changed a bit in a very positive direction.
Ooh.
Danger Sense was changed to... Because it's level 1 feature, is hard to see sometimes. Danger Sense is now changed where it only doesn't work when you are incapacitated. So before, if you were blinded or deafened, you wouldn't get your advantage on your dex saves. Now you get advantage unless you're literally like paralyzed or unconscious. There's very few other effects that give you incapacitated. There's like a sorcerer's spell that was new that can do that to you otherwise, but that's...
Oh yeah, no, okay. Another thing about the rage extension that makes it nice, now that I think about it, is hold person can't just stop your rage now.
This is
Because you use a bonus action? No, maybe not.
Let me check the paralyzed condition. But I would say totally, because I think you can still use actions, but you just are...
I think it's physical, like, actions or something.
Like, you can't cast spells or anything because you're incapacitated.
Yeah.
You can take actions or reactions, which I guess that includes bonus actions.
I kind of assume.
Not sure. But it's... I
feel like they would have specified...
paralyzed creatures incapacitated, the condition can't speak, blah, 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 and then we go to incapacitated. We gotta look at that one, which is... Can't take actions or reactions. That might... That
you
just
can't...
might...
Well, okay, in this book,
this
incapacitated, you can't take any action, bonus action, or reaction.
Okay, so they specified the bonus action now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good to know, at least.
Yeah, so pull person still sucks, but...
Yeah, okay. I can still break a rage. Okay, cool. That's how I break rage. If I want to really screw... I generally don't do that, but if I want to screw over players, I totally could. I know about that trick.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely suck, but it is a very valid strategy for caster. Feral Instincts isn't what's new. It was Instinctive Pounce that was ported into Tasha's, which was as part of the bonus action for raging. You can move up to half your speed. Great for barbarians. That means they're going to get 1.5 times their speed, which is already going to be 40 feet, which is great. It gets them closer.
How would this stack with the elk?
The Wildheart Elk, I don't know what that does yet. I haven't read it. Oh, and it's not there anymore. Elk's gone.
Oh, Elk's gone? Oh, never mind.
Yes, they have changed path of the totem barbarian. It's now Wildheart, and they changed all of the totems or all of the wild aspects to different things. So
Bear is way weaker now.
Well, Bear was way too strong before.
Oh, I completely agree. I think this was necessary.
So I've opened up Playtest 5 because they reverted one change for the Barbarian's legitimate worst feature, their level 9 feature that stack scales Brutal Critical. It sucks because it only happens 7.5% of the time. And you only add 1 die, or it's actually, you only add a d12 now, which is good actually. Now instead of only adding, now it doesn't matter what weapon you use, you always get a d12 added, which that's good, I guess. But the previous incarnation of Brutal Critical was a 11th level feature, and they gave something else at 9. And whenever the Barbarian scored a critical hit, the target takes extra damage equal to your Barbarian level. So at level 11, you do 11 extra damage on each hit, which is really good and very consistent. Now Brutal Critical is level 9 again. You roll a d12. It increases at level 13 to do 2d12 and 3d12 at 17. But rolling the d12, dice rolling is fun, but like you could roll 3 1s, you could roll 3 12s, right, at level 17. It's just kind of like, why change something that made the feature not as bad? But also they made it like 3 features again, which is mid. Because they don't get anything else at level 13 or 17.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, what elk use, by the way, I might as well say, which is why my mind went there. increased your movement speed by 15 feet. So imagine like rage
Oh,
move, bonus move. You just run across the map.
Let's see.
Any of their paths change otherwise?
Yes. So all of their subclasses are different. If you Berserker is basically the same as it was in Playtest 5, which is now if you want to deal damage as a barbarian, you pick Berserker just to cover the frenzy, in case people didn't notice, because the frenzy is the biggest thing. Instead of when you go in frenzy raging, you take exhaustion after your rage ends, which was the worst mechanic ever in any subclass. Only better than the battle armored dwarf subclass and Skag. That was, just don't worry about that one. Whenever once per turn, when you go into a rage, you deal extra damage on your one attack equal to a number of d6 equal to your rage damage bonus. So at level 3, it would be 3d6, or 2d6. It would go up to 3d6, 4d6. Whenever your rage bonus goes up, which is very good, very consistent extra damage every turn. Very fun. Mindless Rage gives you immunity to Charmed and Frightened. Instead of previously, for some reason, the PHP, it temporarily suppressed those effects. So if you stopped raging, you'd be back to Charmed or Frightened. Stupid. Now you're just immune to it while raging. And then I think a couple other features are different, but they're like so high level, I just don't really care about them.
Yeah.
So level 10 is different. And the level 14 feature was an action. You do intimidating yell or whatever. It's not a bonus action. Great, cool. No need to make high level features actions for a martial most of the time because that's gonna suck being a martial.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Path of Wildheart with the big changes since like the bear, so you're not like invincible to everything.
Yeah. So just so we clear what it is, a bear now gives you resistance to 2 damage types of your choice, other than force or psychic, and you get to choose those upon raging. So this is great because this gives you similar survivability.
You're in a fire temple, it's nice.
It gives you. This in fact makes the barbarian one of these classes of like, let's think about what these enemies are doing. Let's prep our rage. Let's use our rage tactically to be resistant to this dragon, right? Or these demons or devils that are gonna be fiery based.
Still sucks now against a mage with chromatic orb, but oh well.
I mean, I don't think a barbarian's worried about a mage throwing chromatic orb usually.
I mean, like, it's not, piercing, slashing, or like, I feel like barbarians should be afraid of mages in a lot of cases because they can deal elemental damage.
Now, I will say, it's important to note this, a lot of creatures in the Monsters of the Multiverse, whenever they redid all the non-monster manual monsters, I believe a lot of them started dealing force damage instead of saying magic damage, or they started doing force damage. So, and we see that in the playtests where classes, instead of getting these, your weapons count as magical, they can count as force or their physical type. So we will see is that there'll be a lot more force damage likely coming in 1D&D's monster manual. So that is also a bigger limiting factor than what we expect to see in 5e as is.
Oh, so that's kind of more immune. So kind of in a way, you're not immune to magical weapons.
Well, magical weapons still deal normal damage, but it's like, so at level 6, monks get their weapons count as magical. In 1D&D, they can deal force damage. This is the same for druids. When the moon druids, when they wild shape, I thought you meant
when you like get a magical weapon, it does that.
No,
okay, you're talking when you add magic to a weapon for some in classes.
Yeah, in class features, we have a lot of force damage, and then monsters have been doing more force damage in newer books. So expect that your bear totem barbarian will be less tanky, but that's fine because now it's not objectively the only choice you should ever pick for this subclass.
Yes, it's the one thing I do definitely agree on. It's sort of like
it's still really good. You get 3 all physical resistance and 2 other resistances changing every time you rage, which you can also cycle your rage in the middle of combat if you really need to switch it up. Like,
Yeah.
But other than that, level 6 feature, lackluster. It gives you expertise in one skill. Pretty bad. Definitely needs a buff.
Yeah. And I can see why they got rid of Elk, because so many people play Theater of the Mind that you move more is probably not as great.
And Wolf is way better now. Wolf now gives advantage on melee attacks against any enemy within 5 feet of the barbarian.
Within 10 feet. Yeah, I think it used
10
to be
feet.
5
Yeah, 10 feet. It used to be 5 feet. It's 10 feet now.
Yeah.
Great. This barbarian is a melee rogues or swashbuckler rogues literal best. Like, and 10 feet's really cool because now a barbarian can use a pike or glaive or reach weapon, and the rogue can still benefit. That's great. I love that the teamwork Wolf barbarian is even more teamwork.
Wolf actually now applies a teamwork buff, whereas before it was still a little limited. And
before you had to take you had to penalize yourself, so now everyone has advantage to hit you, but you have a normal attacks. Previous Wolf. Because previous Wolf was whenever you use reckless attack, but you don't get advantage. I'm pretty sure is how that worked. But everyone still had
No, it was just, I'm looking at it. It's just while you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you that is hostile to you.
Oh, okay. I must be thinking of something else then. I don't know. I always thought it was you had to give up your reckless attack. I must be thinking of, like, I don't know, Star Wars 5e or something. That conversion has so much stuff that I forget.
Yes.
A new subclass completely. Path of the World Tree. This one is sick. I love it. This is your support barbarian. This barbarian, whenever they rage, they get extra hit points equal to the barbarian level. They heal hit points. And then at the start of each of the turns, when their rage is active, and if an ally is within 10 feet of them, that ally gains temporary hit points equal to a roll of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus, right? So 2d6 at level 3. And they get those temporary hit points, and they remain until the rage ends for the barbarian. So it's like a Twilight Domain cleric kind of situation, except much less radius. Really great teamwork there. Temp hit points is really cool, and a support barbarian didn't exist till this, literally right here, and Path of the Ancient, not Agents, the Guardian ones. What the one you're playing, Tempest? Whatever it's called.
Yeah, Path of the Ancestral Spirits.
Ancestral Guardians. Yeah.
Ancestral Guardians. That's the one. Yeah. It's the closest thing to a support, but it's basically everybody attack me.
It's a taunt.
Yeah.
This is active.
I do like how they didn't make it so you had to pick a totem and then stick with that. You now just can pick a different one each time too.
Fun fact: normal 5e. That's also how it works. Just everyone thought you had to stay with a totem.
Oh really?
Yeah, Jeremy Crawford literally says this. It's like, yeah, everyone thinks that you have to stay with it, but you don't. It doesn't say that ever, which is just funny. It literally says you could choose the same animal you select at level 3 or a different one. It's a thing that was just confusing. Because it was just, it felt like you had to stick with it.
I do like how they note that you can voluntarily fail a save is like an actual thing that they're actually saying now.
Yes. So, yes, the level 6 branches of the tree, as a reaction, you can whenever a creature ends its turn within 20 feet of the barbarian while raging, they can use a reaction to send out a tendril of tree and pull that person, or teleport them actually, not pull them even, or teleport to an unoccupied within 5 feet of the barbarian or a near spot. This means you can pull your allies away from danger behind you, like in a hallway, for example, or you can pull enemies next to a cliff for your fighter friend to push off, or any number of situations like that. And making them do that saving throw maintains your rage if you didn't attack anyone or you didn't use your bonus action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So level 10
force them to attempt to save, then
yeah. Level 10 is sick as well. It gives you it increases your weapon's reach by 10 feet. Period. When you wield a melee weapon. And that weapon, you can activate the push or topple mastery property. Which, the push got changed, so now, and topple got changed, I think. But I know push got changed. You can't push huge or larger creatures.
Okay.
before you could push huge or larger, and you could technically push people directly up. They also said you can't push people up, but there's some wording problems with when it first came out. Level 14 ability is when you, as an action, the barbarian can touch a huge or larger tree, or a teleportation circle, and teleport to a teleportation circle somewhere else on the world or another plane of existence, as long as you know of its existence.
You can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from you if it is large or smaller. So, yes. I mean, I guess you could still push up if you get underneath them.
Well, so you say that. Fun fact: there's a build as a halfling, because halflings can enter enemy squares as a halfling warlock, and you cast Repelling Blast while under your enemy, and you hit them, say 3 times, then they go up, 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 and they fall down and take 3d6 falling because they push up 10 feet. It's a funny build. That does exist. So,
you still can only do. Yeah, but even with this, you can only push them 10 feet up, which I think would only do 1d6 damage.
Yeah. Also, I would say the player definitely would end up taking 1d6 falling damage, because they're being crushed by a falling enemy.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
You know, something falling on you, you take that damage. That's usually.
I might allow for a dexterity save for half.
Depends on how big the creature is.
I mean, since you can only do it to large or smaller, I'd probably still allow it.
Oh, no, that's fair, yeah.
We do seemingly have updates to Path of the Zealot, too.
Yes. Path of the Zealot has some contentious changes people don't like. I think the changes are mostly good. The higher level ones are iffy.
Okay, so, I see, the Divine Fury, where you can kind of choose the damage each time it's dealt. That feels like an improvement, that, now I want to do Necrotic, now I want to do Radiant. Okay, was it different before? What's the contentious part of this?
Well, not that ability.
Okay.
Before it was, you chose it when you gained it. That feature is exactly the same.
Okay.
And the level 3 feature is also the same. The Warrior of the Gods feature is also the same.
Okay,
Warrior of the Gods is a little buffed, actually.
Okay.
And Divine Fury is a little buffed. You can switch between Necrotic and Radiant. Before, you would have to choose when you gained the subclass.
I gotcha. So you originally choose, now you can, when you're attacking, you choose the damage. So it's a little bit of a buff, so you can switch between them for certain circumstances, certainly.
Yeah. The Warrior of Gods feature is the same, except that the healing part is added in.
Okay.
So the whole first paragraph is new. So you regain an extra D12 hit points whenever you're healed, and you can do that in number of times.
So where's this contentious come? The Zealous presence, I guess?
It comes mostly at the level 14. The Rage, Beyond Death. Let me read you old Rage Beyond Death.
Okay.
So before, while you are raging, having 0 hit points does not knock you unconscious. You still must make death saving throws, and you just have the normal effects of taking damage while at 0 hit points. However, if you would die due to failing death saving throws, you don't die until your rage ends, and you die then only if you have 0 hit points. Now, instead, whenever your Relentless Rage, which that's a different feature, that's at level 11 for Barbarian, which I guess will be important to read in this case. Relentless Rage is if you drop to 0 hit points while your rage is active and don't outright die, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. If you succeed, your hit points instead change to a number equal to twice your Barbarian level. You could do this multiple times, DC increasing by 5 each time. When you finish a rest, it restores. So the biggest change here is now you're not immune. You're not you can't rage permanently, right? Because it lasts so now instead the Rage Beyond Death is when you use that ability and you get twice your Barbarian hit points, which at this level would be 28, which isn't a lot actually at level 14, right? That's probably 1 hit, maybe 2.
Well, we'll say 2 because you're a Barbarian. You'll probably be taking half damage.
Yeah, maybe 2. Depends on what's coming. But
that's definitely true.
We could say 2, but we're level 14 here, right? Damage is very high.
Yes.
You get a fly speed equal to your walking speed, and you could hover. You can move through difficult terrain, or you can move through objects. like it was difficult terrain. You take a D10 force damage if you end your turn inside of an object. When you're hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to turn the hit into a miss. And that lasts for a minute or until you regain any hit points or drop to 0 hit points. That's, it's basically a different feature, and it kind of just is meh.
It's fine, but like hearing the old one, it definitely like if you compare it to that, I'm like, yeah, this is not as nearly as good as the new.
I want to just point out, level 14 sorcerer feature, Draconic Sorcerer, they get permanent flight. This is literally
if you succeed on a save, you get a fly speed, difficult terrain. You can't be healed though without losing the abilities.
Well, you become a ghost basically.
And
I know.
And yes, you can use your reaction to have one attack miss, which sounds great.
But you only get one reaction, so if you attack twice, there's
and every creature at level 14 has more than one attack.
Yes, everything's going to have multi-attack.
Exactly, right? Anything that's hitting you in melee is going to have multi-attack.
And
probably
you might be
fighting 3 or 4.
Yeah, you might be fighting multiple creatures also at that level too, honestly.
And it's once per long rest.
Exactly. And again, a sorcerer,
Not even for short rest.
The sorcerer Draconic subclass, level 14 feature, right? I'm trying to find it. Draconic Wings, as a bonus action, they can sprout permanent wings. Wings can be incorporeal, can be physical, and that's it. They just get wings. Is that feature? This feature is just better because I rather have the barbarian have permanent flight than this feature, because this feature just doesn't do anything. Like, it only happens when you first of all are at 28 hit points now, right? You got knocked to 0. You use your reaction, I think. You're now at 28 hit points, and that's it. You're gonna get hit again.
So you have to succeed. You have to succeed on a save. It only lasts for a minute, so it doesn't even last like your entire rage. You can't be healed during it, or you lose the ability.
Exactly. And so it
disappears
awful.
If you're hit again. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah. It's just awesome.
I mean, you're gonna you might just go down if
you're probably going to be dropping again and trying to use Relentless Rage again very quickly.
Yes.
But at that point, you would have dropped to 0 hit points, and it would have lost.
And the feature's gone.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't persist because Relentless Rage is I don't think it's a reaction, but it's in reaction to being dropped to 0 hit points. So there is a way. There's a pretty easy way terrible.
There is a pretty easy way to fix this in my mind. If it changed Relentless Ways instead of increasing, so you could do 2 things. One, it could basically make Relentless Rage. So you could either use it to make Relentless Rage better by, let's say, it only increases the difficulty only increases by 1 each time you go down. Yeah, and it doesn't persist, but then you also get these bonuses. I truly think we're gonna homebrew it.
If you were to make this better, I think the kind of best way to do this would be probably Relentless Rage. Now only increases by 1 every time you use it, but any attack makes you have to roll that save. Any attack that hits you, right? And then this persists till you fall unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
but you can also make them miss. So yeah,
it sounds like the Zealot used to have part of Relentless Rage, and they moved Relentless Rage to its own thing. So it made it harder to make a version of it. So I understood them having to rewrite it, but they didn't capture what it was before. Even if they wanted to pull back what they had before, this feels like it's too far.
Relentless Rage has always been a feature of a barbarian. It was buffed. Now it gives twice your HP instead of just 1 hit point. So before it was utterly useless. It was utterly useless.
This is how much I play Barbarian.
There's very little point. In the new updates, there's very little point to play Barbarian past level 6, maybe 7, because just their main feature after that is Brutal Critical, which is just not great. But
honestly, if I were to be nice, I would probably give them also kind of a lower critical threshold with Brutal Critical.
So Yeah, the reason why they don't, Jeremy Crawford's like, the reason why we don't give barbarians a 19 critical range is because permanent advantage effectively increases your critical range, which is true, right? It makes it, instead of a 5%, you get like a 9.4% chance or 9.25% chance because you're rolling 2d20s. So, but advantage is also actually, relatively speaking, easy to get, much easier to get in 1D&D than in 5e. So, like, the benefit of reckless attack is less than it is in 5.
I still think it'd be better to give them a 1920 because, like, it's just
I agree.
The point of a barbarian is to deal damage. They're not as big of tanks, in my opinion, as fighters are. They're the damage dealers.
Yeah, well, especially new fighter with how second wind work. But we can get to that once we finish with this barbarian.
We can talk about that now because we kind of like are hitting on fighter, and there's a good comparison for the barbarian.
Also, brutal critical. Basically, it requires you to crit, but then you get like a increase in damage that's basically equivalent to cantrip.
It is 6.5 extra damage when you crit.
Yeah,
at level 9.
It's damage.
It's abysmal. It's just not. Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, but like my point is that like cantrips increase faster than this, you know?
Yeah, it basically whenever you crit at level 17, you deal the equivalent of Toll the Dead. Extra. Okay, that's it. You know, 5% of the time. Yeah, it's. I hate that feature with a passion because I love barbarians as a thematic class, but I would never play it past levels. So
yeah, I mean, if I were a player, I'd probably give them the 19 crit.
I don't think it breaks anything. You know,
no, I don't.
Playing a barbarian at level 9,
you need like honestly to make brutal critical worth it. Yeah, brutal critical to make it worth it. You basically need to get it about a quarter of the time, which I think advantage plus 19 would help.
Yeah, you'd get.
I don't think it'd even be that good, you know.
Like a 13% chance or 14% chance.
Yeah, which is better than like what is it like
9.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 9.25. So fighters though, they have a lot of features shifted around and some new features from the last UA. So first, to cover what happened last UA, because the biggest change was Second Wind, and they even improved it here. Second Wind now has a number of uses per long rest, based on the column in the fighter.
Yeah.
At level 1, it's 2. At level 4, it's 3, and then it increases at level 10 to 4. The change to Second Wind is that you recover 1 expended use of your Second Wind on a short rest, and all of them on a long rest. Great, love it. Now, fighters have another reason to short rest. Helps warlocks out too because they're back-to-back magic. I love recovery of some features on short rest, all features on long rest. It makes short rests more digestible to all classes, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's healing.
Because a lot of D&D a lot of 5e very much had the like I mean, even like let's take Barbarian, where it's all like, no, I need to keep raging. Let's keep going. It's like, no, I need to recover my spells. You know.
Yeah,
I'm a wizard.
Like, Barbarians have 0 reasons to ever short rest because they got nothing on short rest.
Yeah.
They still don't get anything on short rest, but you know, that's a different problem.
Yeah.
They expend hit dice, which is important for Barbarians, right? But they heal on short rest.
It's healing is the only thing at it, and now it really does feel like, you know, oh, I can do 1 big rage and then I can short rest or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Honestly, I think they would benefit from getting a
1 rage back on a short rest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't think that'd
they
be
should definitely
broken.
No, it wouldn't, because Barbarians are expected to rage every con they're in.
Yeah.
Right? That's their battle power.
Yeah, and basically, like, if they can't rage, they're kind of pointless, and at that point, you need to take a long rest. So
you're
also
a fighter without a
the
fighting
number of
style.
short rests you get. Yeah. Yeah, and also you're getting basically, you know, fewer short rests in this, so it's like, you know, what, you get back 2, you know? Because, like, you're supposed to only limit it to, like, 2 short rests in a day.
Well, there's no limitations on it at all, but no one ever short rests, like, more than 3 times. a day, because that's like,
Yeah.
you gotta imagine day's 24 hours. 3 short rests is 3 hours. Like, how many short rests are you gonna take in a day, right?
You'd be surprised. Some players.
But like, that's like probably like we gotta keep moving. We have to rest, but we have to keep moving. You know what I mean? There's like time situations will come up, but Action Surge got changed from the previous UA and from 5e.
Okay.
I'll read what the previous UA did, and it'll make sense. On the previous UA, you got 1 additional action, and you had to take the attack, dash, disengage, or dodge action, which is weird, right? Very limiting. The new UA, you can take any action except the magic action. Cool, great, love it. No longer is 2-level fighter dip for double fireball, wizard, or sorcerer, or whatever, a viable option, because Action Surge should never have been really good for martials and best for mages, right?
Yeah.
It should be used for, you know,
it does fortunately remove the level. Like, I think that's one good thing is I don't mind multi-classing. I just want less level dips to like abuse things, you know, and I think that it discourages that when we don't have it, that you're doubling spells with an action surge.
Well, now the one thing this does do that is slightly interesting is that in order to use a magical item, you will have to use a magic action. So there is some limitation on magic item usage as your action surge action, but usually if you're going to use a magic item, you might like use that as your normal action.
That's what I was going to say. You still have your normal actions, and then you can surge and attack. So
yeah, so it mostly probably wouldn't be a problem, but there is some cases where the fighter will get a L because of this change, but it's mostly to stop sorcerers and wizards and whatnot from double fireballing.
I will say,
I'm just fine with them fireballing once, and then just if they're like a battle sorcerer, just attacking a couple of times, you know?
Yeah, which is cool, but that's like a different like aesthetic, right?
Different
it's like
I was about. Yeah, I mean, there's still I was gonna say the arcane fighter, whatever it was.
Eldritch Knight. Yes, this does, but Eldritch Knight has some features that we'll get into that kind of go around.
We'll get to it. So. Yeah, I thought they might. I was actually scrolling down to see, but I was gonna say though. Also, one interesting thing is that this does allow you to do other miscellaneous actions. So in theory, you could open 2 doors with an action.
Yes. Well, that's why they talked in the video, because they released the videos. They talked in the video about players felt like it was bad to limit action surge so much because there's a lot of things you want to do with your action. In action surge, I think a lot of the most memorable action surge moments isn't I attack 6 times or 4 times or whatever. It's I use my action surge to do this action that was to like grab a lever to like stop us from falling, like lava pouring, or you know what I mean, like some other miscellaneous action that only a fighter could do because of action, right? They had, which now they can do again, which everyone loves, right? That's new level 2 feature, Tactical Mind. This pushes fighters in a more, they are battlefield experts type direction, which fighters are meant to be, right? They're meant to be really great fighters. And this helps them also do some support. So when they fail an ability check, they can expend a second wind. Rather than regaining hit points, they can add a D10 to their roll.
That's pretty cool, because that's definitely like a, you're not probably rolling as many ability checks.
And if the check still fails, the second wind is not expended.
Exactly.
That's a good one, too.
So this means a fighter can be your party face.
It really can!
The fighter can be your party face, right? And can be this wise battlefield commander, right? And they might not have a super great wisdom, but when they need to make important checks, they can expend their second win, get a D10 on it, and if they fail, they keep that second win for other things in the future. They don't get fucked, right? So
in 5e, in 5.5 or whatever this is called,
just call it 1. Let's call it 1.
Okay,
D&D 1.
1 D&D
1.
1 D&D. Okay. So do you I was gonna Oh yeah, do attacks still count as ability checks? Because in 5e
No,
it did.
They don't count as ability checks in 5. They count as attacks, which is a separate.
Well,
thing.
no, attacks counted as an ability check if I remember correctly in original 5e.
They do not, because you cannot make them like expertise, which you can only do for ability checks. But no, they attacks don't count as ability checks in 5e.
Okay.
You're probably thinking of initiative, which initiative counts as an ability check, which is the only thing that is.
Maybe.
Yeah, but attacks is an attack action, right? In 1 D&D they have more physical descriptors about things. So like, there's an attack action, magic action. In 5e it's a little weirder, but I don't believe attacks are ever like in the ability section page of the PHP. I don't think they have attacks. It's
so
only skill checks.
Couple other things just to note them, because they are changes. You can change out your fighting style at every level. Whenever you gain level, which is pretty good. That's variety. 6 weapon masteries instead of 5, which
they get 1 more now.
Yeah,
which is cool. It's good. That's fun. Give fighters more.
Yeah, that's true.
They have a new level 5 feature called Tactical Shift. Whenever you activate your second wind with a bonus action, you can move up to half your speed without provoking an attack of opportunities. Which we saw this with barbarians with the level 7 feature, that when they rage they can move with half their speed. We're seeing a lot of movement with bonus actions at half speed when you're doing something else really good. All martial melee characters need abilities to move quicker, because if they're not in melee, they're just not doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Indomitable was changed in the last playtest, and it's mostly the same as now. Well, it's actually different now. Before Indomitable used second winds, now it is its own resource, but you get more than you did in 5e.
Okay, that's good. So they kind of made its own thing.
And the difference is, before Indomitable, you got to reroll a saving throw if you failed, which didn't matter 99% of the time, because if a fighter was told to make a wisdom saving throw against a high-level creature, you were still failing, unless you rolled a 20, and you still might fail if you rolled a 20. So, Indomitable adds your fighter level to your reroll.
Okay.
Great. That means that's at level 9 when you get it. That's a +9. You're probably succeeding. Cool.
Yes.
You get 2 at level 13 and 3 at level 17. They get a new level 9 feature that was a combination of previous features in the past UA.
Okay.
It lets you basically just switch out what mastery property your weapons are using. It's fine. It kind of, it only matters if you have a magical weapon. Otherwise, it's kind of a golf bag full of weapons type situation in 1 D&D, which is, honestly, I think that's fine. I don't really care about having your fighter carry 6 different weapons. That kind of is its own aesthetic, but that's not for everyone.
That's an aesthetic I've carried a couple, but that's just too many. I'm sorry.
Well, you really only need 2 melee weapons and then 1 ranged weapon, and you cover most of the properties that you want to use. And in level 9, you only need 1 weapon.
Yeah.
Last new feature for the main class, you see a lot of new things for fighter. Level 13, studied attack. If you make an attack roll against a creature or miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Great. Cool. You missed, you get advantage on your next attack.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. It's like True Strike, but you don't even have to cast a spell. You just miss.
It's a little weak for a level 13 ability, I think, but it's better than nothing. It's not bad.
That's true.
You get a second Indomitable use at the same level, right? So,
well, here's the reason this is good. If you miss on your first attack, you can get advantage on your second attack.
Of course. Yeah, that's why it's nice, right? It gives you advantage. So, fighters will hit.
And if you miss that one, then you can get advantage on the next one. So, so if you got your and this is after you get 3 attacks. So
3 attacks is it's after you get 3 attacks.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it basically makes a much better chance of you dealing. Your much more guaranteed to deal damage in a round, which is important.
Although in 1D&D, you're way more likely to hit than you are in 5e while playing like a, I guess your optimal strength damage. Because Great Weapon Master is no longer -5 to hit, +10 to damage. It's completely different. And same thing with Sharpshooter. So like you're in 1D, we're gonna see more people hitting and dealing their consistent damage rather than the explodey damage that was in 5e because of such feats. So there's a bit of a difference for it, where it's not quite as good as it would be in current 5e, but it's still good. I mean, advantage is nice. It's just kind of like a, okay.
Yeah, I think that was in the last one, right? The change to those.
No, that was in UA 3 or 2 is where they did the feat overall.
They overhauled. Yeah, I think they touched them up in the last one though, maybe.
I'm not sure. But
whatever.
So
what do you call it?
The Battle Master has been updated a little bit. Yes.
Yep. They get just like before. Their superiority dice stuff is all the same. There are some maneuvers that are different, some that are added. We're not going to probably cover those.
I don't think we'll dive into the maneuvers. You can check them out yourself.
I'll mention one of them when we pass by it because its change is great.
Okay.
But Student of War, instead of just a tool proficiency, you also get a skill.
That's
great,
so nice.
cool.
Skill
That's nice.
so nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fighters, much more skills than they used to have. Great, love it. Know your enemy. You used to have to spend, I think, 10 minutes studying the person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now it's a bonus action. It's once per long rest, just like before. You can use your bonus action. You now know just a set number of things instead of like 3 things asking your DM, and if it's higher or lower than your thing. You know damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities. And if the creature... you know if they have any of those. The wording of this was strange.
Yes.
So, it's not the same information, but now it's actually going to be used.
That is still very useful because it's sort of like, even if you can't take advantage of it, you could be like, oh hey, my sorcerer friend, I just learned that thing is vulnerable to cold. Do you have any cold spells? And the sorcerer's like, do I? You know?
Are they going to like make it so enemies actually have vulnerabilities? Because if I remember in like basically like they are.
Well, that's what we've been. It's implied that it seems like what they're gonna go for.
Yeah, because like realistically, like it's just like it's right now it's all like I think there's like 2 enemies.
I guess the immunities and resistances though come up at least.
Oh yeah, immunities and resistances come up a lot. I mean,
vulnerabilities.
Immunity.
Well, I mean, you just guess everything's immunity poison at this. You know, at level 10, everything's immune. you just assume that, but. Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. In 5e, basically, there's like probably like 36 things vulnerable in total in the monster manual.
Yeah. Like skeletons are vulnerable to bludgeoning. That's the only one I ever remember.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember any of them because they come up so infrequently that I just forget.
Yeah.
And now you get the ability to use a maneuver once a turn without expending a superiority dice, but it uses a D8 instead of whatever you've got.
Yes. Relentless. Now you basically get to perma use maneuvers. Great, love it.
Yeah. So said the maneuver that
the one maneuver that I really think is great that was changed is precision attack. Before you would have to say I'm going to use precision attack. And you have to declare it before you attack, and you add your superiority to your attack. Now, it triggers after you miss. So then you can say, I'm going to precise strike, add your roll, boom. Now you use it when you need to use it. Great, love it. Great, now it's actually useful.
Yes.
Yep.
I played a Battle Master in Baldur's Gate 3, precise attack, you have to declare it beforehand. It's the most annoying thing in the world, because I always forget to click it. It's fun, you know. So,
yeah, which is interesting because like they allow you to for relentless attack or reckless attack for Barbarian, they allow you to declare it in the middle of a swing.
Well,
you
that's
were
only
gonna
for
miss.
BG3, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying like it's
Yeah.
weird that they didn't make a change of that for.
For precise attack, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
it's precise attack is now actually useful because before you would never take it because you're never gonna think about I'm gonna use this in advance. That's just not how people's brains work usually.
Nope.
New fighter subclass next. Brawler.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. It doesn't really do anything. Yeah.
You just play a monk or College of Dance Bard.
No, I was gonna say College Dance Bard's so good. It's gonna get nerfed. This is just okay. It's the unarmed fighting style from Tasha's Told You of Anything is your level 3 feature. So D6 strength mod if you're holding a shield, D8 strength mod if you're not holding a weapon or a shield. That's whatever. It's okay. Other level 3 feature is the Tavern Brawler feat from 5e. You get proficiency in improvised weapon. They have a set of things they can be. So they can, one-handed ones can be light or thrown. Two-handed ones can be reach or thrown. And then you can apply a weapon mastery to them. But first of all, it doesn't tell you the damage. So I don't even know where you'd find that. But even if they did, if your two-handed improvised weapon is equivalent to a glaive or a pike or halberd, it means it's no different than using a glaive, pike, or halberd, except you can't get a magical version of it. And then your unarmed strikes are useless. Because
unless
they
it
don't
counts as
combine
an unarmed
anyway.
strike and uses that, but
Sneezed so hard my headphones came off.
They might. But like, there's just the two level 3 features literally don't interact at all, and in fact, they negatively interact.
Yeah, because you can only use one. In theory, you can only use one or the other at a time.
Yeah, and they don't do anything. They don't do anything, right? Effectively speaking, they do nothing.
I mean,
now your base counts as
like you said, it's better to be a monk at this point.
Yeah, and this is someone that I think monks are the worst class in 5e, and I'd rather just play a monk than this fighter. If this is what I'm going for, like, I like the thematics of monk, but like, geez, this is just awful. Both your level 3 features are basically useless. Level 7 feature.
Level 7.
You can bonus action. Well, not so. Unarmed strikes in 1D&D are damage, grapple, or shove attacks. They're all unarmed strikes. So this lets you bonus action, grapple, or shove.
Oh God.
Which is good, but that is literally the Tavern Brawler feat from 5e. And you deal a d6 to creatures you're grappling. That's okay, I guess. Fun fact, you could play a Battle Master, and on your attack roll, you can knock someone prone. Or use the topple weapon mastery.
Yup.
That, they're just, it's bad. Dirty
you
fighting.
have advantage on unarmed strikes that are grappled by you.
Yeah, level 10 feature, you have advantage against the people you're grappling if you use your inferior weapon. Congratulations.
Yep.
I don't even care about the level 15 feature.
Let's just move on.
No,
Champion.
I just need to stop at level 18. This is your capstone subclass feature. Your unarmed strikes improve to a D8 or a D10 if you're not using your shield or any other weapons. Meaning you get an extra 1 point of damage. It's actually
That's
don't
actually
even know
pretty
what to
bad.
say.
Yeah.
It's abysmal.
Yeah.
Monks
end at D12, don't they?
Yes. When I was watching the video, I was like, oh, I'm as excited for this brawler. It's going to be super cool. I read this, and I was like, wow. I don't even know how Jeremy Crawford could talk about that subclass with a straight face. Like, this subclass is... I think they're going to delete it. I'll be honest. I don't think it'll come back.
Honestly...
It has nothing going on.
I think they should focus on improvise. I think
Improvised
what they should
weapons,
do
yeah.
is focus it on improvised weapons, and basically be like, if your improvised weapon is magical in any sense, it's now counts as a magical weapon or something. Could be one. It's like so you can pick up like a magical stone and bludgeon someone with it. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're just
Okay. Let's talk about
Cast light on a
Champion.
stone.
Let's
It's
move on and
magical
cap
now.
out
Bludgeon.
Champion because I just saw something in Champion that automatically just kicks Barbarian in the balls. Improved crit at level 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
wow,
that's always been the future.
I know,
that's
but
always-
I'm just like,
That's always been there.
we were talking about it, and I'm like, I forgot that was there, and I'm just like, oh god.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. At level 15, they get an 18 to 20 crit range.
Could we just give something nice to the Barbarian?
Well, actually, you know what? Beyond that, I think Champion Fighter is unironically a really good subclass. 1, improved crit range. It's boring, but it's cool. Level 3,
Yeah.
other features. You have advantage on initiative rolls and athletics checks.
Yep.
And whenever you make a running long jump, you can cover the distance you can cover is increased the number of feet equal to your strength mod, meaning you'll jump farther than any barbarian, which is cool. It doesn't mean much, but it's cool. Jumping is also no, jumping's not different. The jump spell's different.
So I'll be honest though, this makes a whole lot. This is a whole lot better when you consider the fact that you can like also if you fail roll use a second wind to try to add 10. Do an athletics check. It's like there's lots. This pairs a lot better with fighter.
Yeah.
There are things fighter can do, and also the base fighter itself has some compatibility outside of combat, so buffing only your combat isn't as big of a downside like it was with fighter in original 5e.
Yeah,
It's
so
you fight
very
and
true.
then you fight more.
I do have one more
such a good
comment,
point. Such a good point.
and I did have a question, because they point out here heroic advantage.
That's
what-
inspirational.
It's inspiration, so you can give yourself inspiration if you start a turn without it, basically.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Fair
But
in combat.
we talked about that level 18 Brawler, and I'm looking at level 18 Survivor, and I'm like,
It's-
they don't even compare. It's
Yeah.
some bonus hit points
can't
if
do
you're below half health, and it's harder for you to die. God damn it.
Tanzan, if you could read it for chat. Read the level 18 feature.
Alright, you get 2 things for level 18 for survival. 1, Defy Death. This is the okay one, but it's good to have. Advantage on death saves, and if you roll 18 to 20 on a death save, it's like rolling a 20, meaning you're
You
back
get
up in
crit.
action.
Your crit range goes on your death saves.
You get
Okay.
an increased crit range for death saving throws. It's so
An advantage to them.
and
It's so hard
and
to die.
advantage.
Yeah. And now the
Yeah,
other thing is,
great.
you also get Heroic Rally. If the start of your turn, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus con modifier if you have no more than half of your hit points remaining. So as long as you're below half, you just heal a little bit at the beginning of your turn. And you can't do it at 0.
If you're conscious, yeah. So you have to
Yeah,
be
so
conscious.
basically, yeah, you're conscious, you just heal a little bit every one of
But
your
hey,
turns.
But hey, if you somehow are able to die with this moderate. Honestly, I love it. I'm someone who loves health regeneration in games, so I love this ability. Might
You're-
not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
but basically, you have
average
health regeneration.
fighter will probably, especially at level 18, at minimum, have 7 hit points they're regaining each turn when they're below half. That's
And
still a lot of healing you're getting.
Yeah,
in
well, it's
comparison
not-
to-
It's not a lot, but it's good.
It's good. It's
But
not
beyond-
1 extra
well,
damage.
But beyond that, this happens passively out of combat. So
Mhm.
fighters will always be at half HP at level
Yep.
18 with this sub.
Yeah. Honestly, they definitely should add a during combat modifier.
No, I don't.
into that.
Honestly, I don't think it needs it. I mean, to be honest, how often are you going into fights less than half HP anyway?
And the fact
That's,
is,
oh yeah, you'd only heal up to half. That's a good point.
yeah, you're only
Yeah.
healing up to half. So
But so basically, compare this basic act subclass to Brawler, and you realize why there's no point to ever pick Brawler.
Yeah.
Because
And
I just hate Brawler so much. Sorry, it's just so bad.
Honestly, yeah, and this also makes me realize how terrible that the Rage Beyond Death was too. 'Cause,
Yes,
why
this
not
is
just give
literally
them
better.
this? Yeah,
This
why
is
not just give
better.
them this?
Listen, I have nothing to say. Okay, Rage Beyond Death is not okay.
So Eldritch Knight did get update. Apparently, the spellcasting, which I never remember. No School of Magic restrictions.
Yes.
Which,
Before it was restricted to evocation or abjuration spells, except for certain levels.
which honestly, I like that better. You're mixing magic and spellcasting, so it might require you to cast some other kind of spell.
But
Let's be real. The restriction was unnecessary because you have so little spells. You might as well pick the spells you want. But beyond that, this also is really cool for a fighter who wants to be diplomatic. You get Charm Person, right? You can get at level 7. You could even get Spider Climb or something, right? You
can also get more tactical ones, like you get Hold Person
or Haste.
Yeah.
At level 13, you could get Haste.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of far, but the Hold Person's level 2, which is at least what
level
but
7.
still
seven, yeah. So.
But
Your
still,
save's also terrible, to be fair. You're int based, so
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're using a roll system and you get if you get some good rolls, you can.
Yeah, there is
work, but...
the average fighter is gonna have, even with this subclass, at best a 14.
You get your 2 cantrips, which you can switch out one every level. That's pretty nice.
Friends.
The War Magic. Let's see here.
Yes. So the biggest change is War Magic. Before, I think if you cast a spell with your action, you could bonus action attack. Now, it is very different. Now, whenever you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with a casting of one of your wizard cantrips. That is a casting time of 1 action. So, this is the Blade Singer extra attack. You can pair it with Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade. Great, love it. This is wonderful.
This allows you to do a spell with multiple attacks.
It's
a Blade Singer extra attack.
It also technically would allow you to do 2 cantrips, I guess, because if you used your action surge, you're taking an attack action, and you could replace another one. Yeah.
So you could do 2 Booming Blades or 2 Green Flame Blades.
Again, it's different than fireballs. It's 2 cantrips, which still can be pretty potent and pretty good.
Yes, because this is through your attack action. It's not a magic action. So that's what I was saying about Eldritch Knights can get around. So,
okay, so here's the point I was looking at. Sorry, I think I read it as you can replace one of the attacks. I kind of assumed you could replace more if you wanted to.
No, I'm pretty sure it's saying you can replace one attack with a cantrip.
Yeah. It's not leaving out the extra
sense.
work.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Sorry, that was my
yeah.
bad misreading. I'm like, yeah. I just thought you could replace anyone you wanted with this, but no, that's not what I'm saying.
Right. It's important to note because at level 11 you get 3 attacks, right? So you might want to use your 3rd attack or 1st attack for your cantrip.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to.
So
it lets you just pick which attack. Fighters eventually get 4, right? So it's important.
Yeah.
And then at 18th level, it's a really good ability. Hey, I can. Oh man, look! I would have my 4 attacks now. I can replace 2 of my attacks with just I attack twice and then cast a spell. And yes, now you can get around. I can cast 2 spells in a turn, and so an 18th level Eldritch Knight, I guess, could double Fireball. Technically,
this is true. At 18th level, Eldritch Knight could double Fireball.
But at that point, you have to push really hard into it.
You're an 18th level Eldritch Knight, which
your double Fireball doesn't matter. It's 15d6.
I mean, this is the one downside that everyone because it's like the saves.
But I will say this is actually really good for it. You attack twice still, and it'll attack 3 times. You get 4 attacks level 20.
But it says you replace 2 attacks.
So you get 1 attack still, but you could replace 2 of them and cast haste on yourself. You could cast haste of yourself and still attack twice that turn because of the haste attack, right? And then it's kind of like War Priest in Pathfinder that I'm playing Tantus. That they get to keep momentum with their attacks and cast the spell.
Yeah. it's definitely good improvements for the Eldritch Knight. And it makes it seem... that's the thing is, Eldritch Knight always felt like a cool thing, but like when I looked at it in 5e, it felt like so restricted, and it just... It had still some of that flavor, but it wasn't the same as it was.
More gishy.
I always got rid of, like, just homebrew. I always basically said you're not restricted to the 2 spell schools. Because that's the one thing about it. Yeah, because, like, honestly, that was the big thing for me, is just that, like, there are a lot of tactical options. Like, I understand, I feel like to some degree they didn't want you, like, haste. I feel like haste was one of the big ones they didn't want you to have.
But, like, who cares? You're, like, you get that level 13. Haste, like, and if you fail your saving throw, you're proficient with con saves. You're pretty good at them. But you're gonna get hit a lot. Like, you're a fighter. Like, level 13. Haste isn't broken at level 13. At all.
So like, but like, there are certain spells like that which I feel like were the main, but like, part of me's just like, who cares?
Yeah. Bro, they get the best spell for the fighter anyway. Because they get abjuration. They got shield. Like, at that point, do you really care?
Shield really is the best spell for this class. I mean, I think what makes this class really valuable is that it's like, well, just extra damage resistance.
They get counterspell as well, which is cool, but counterspell's a little different.
That's another good one, yeah. But that's also level 3 too, so that's also...
It is level 3. You're level 13, but, your fighter pulls that counterspell kind of based, okay? But we can go to sorcerer.
It definitely would have been like all of a sudden like, oh hey, I got some up my sleeve just in case. But okay, so we got sorcerer, which has had some changes too. Let's see here.
Biggest nerf. Sorcerer is back to using their personal spell list instead of the arcane spell list. So they get their sorcerer spell list, which is, 10-15% worse than a wizard spell list, which kind of sucks.
Oh.
So they took a step back from their, we're just using 3 spell lists.
Yeah, they removed that. They're back to individual class spell lists. That's a decision they made. It's fine. I think
the thing is, I agree.
Their spell list.
I don't mind this to a degree because I felt like they only did that 3 spell lists. And really, it's like there really should be like with Pathfinders 4. Yeah.
Yeah. You need 4th for bards, but they didn't do it. So
whatever. It's fine. Okay.
But sorcerer got a new level 1 feature, which used to be like a higher level spell in the last playtest. That thing's procced off of, but it's now just a level 1 feature. Love it. It's innate sorcery. It's a bonus action, and it lasts for 1 minute. It increases your spell save DC of your sorcerer spells by 1, and gives you advantage on all attack rolls of your sorcerer spells you cast. And you can use it twice per long rest. Such a good feature. Makes sorcerers the better... If you want to blast, if you want to...
Yeah, they are really good blasters, and
they're better than wizards with all of their spells now, because when they activate this, their DC will be higher than the wizards, but the wizard has more flexibility.
Which is how it really should be, really, a lot. Sorcerers were always meant to be more of a blaster, while wizards were meant to be thematically more variety, more it's the difference between like an axe and a scalpel or something. I guess.
You use it. Okay, you use it and it lasts for a minute. So yeah, so basically for a minute. So basically, you get this twice.
For
per day, which is 2 big fights.
Yeah, it's 2 big fights. You still have to be careful about using it. But again, it's a bonus action, so it's like you're like, oh, should I use it this fight? Am I going to need it?
It's basically like a magical version of a barbarian rage, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what it is, right? You don't get as many uses of it, which
is fair. Magic no longer requires a bonus action. Oh my god!
Wait, I didn't even remember that use. Yeah, it's not just a free action. I think
that was just
it is a bonus action to create spell slots, but to convert, I don't think it's changed.
Oh, to convert spell slots into sorcery points no longer requires a bonus action sense.
Yeah. reverse spell slots into sorcery. Yeah, to make a spell slot it does, but to do the opposite it doesn't, which is
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
Because that
that's
lets
for
you. Yeah,
I can understand that. Spell slots are like, they're a more specialized thing, so basically just make it, reverting it to your sorcery points to fuel all your abilities. I like that you have that option there.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good change. It's minor, to be honest. It doesn't really change much, I think, but it's nice to have.
You get more 2 meta magic options at a couple different levels, and you can change them out every level.
They really need to give more meta magic options earlier. Honestly, give 4 at level 2, and then you can give another 2 at level 10. And that, I mean,
at least you can change them out on every level.
Or you should be able to get 2, and then you can change them on long rest.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it is, it kind of just sucks. There's no reason to make it this limited.
They moved their restoration to level 5. It was level 15, and they moved it to 5? That's a big difference.
Yeah, well, it's
God.
still not great in wording, but basically whenever you roll initiative or finish a short rest, and you have no sorcery points remaining, you regain a number of those points equal to your level divided by 5. It should really say is, if you don't have your level divided by 5, rounded down, and sorcery points, you get that. So that means at level 5, you'll have 1 sorcery point every combat. At level 10, you'll have 2.
Still, nonetheless, that's not bad.
Yeah, I just hate the features that are, if you have 0, you get something back. It should be, if you have less than that thing, you should get that thing back.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
Every DM will rule it that way.
We'll get to it, but I just read Sorcerer's Burst.
Oh, yes, the cantrip got buffed. Great. It's actually now worthwhile to use. Level 7, Sorcery Incarnate. Whenever your Sorcery Incarnate feature is active, which is the level 1 feature, you can use 2 meta magic options on each spell you cast. In addition, if you have no uses of Sorcery Incarnate left, spend 2 sorcery points as a bonus action to activate. So you can use more of it. Great. You can use multiple magic options. Arcane Apotheosis is different now. Whenever you use innate sorcery feature is active, you can use 1 meta magic option on your spells per turn without spending sorcery points. It's a lot different. It used to be something weird with Wish. Now you just get to use meta magic every turn. It's fine. It's level 20, bro, but so who cares?
Yeah.
The only meta magic.
There should be more meta magic too.
There is 1 meta magic to point out, which is Twin Spell, which was changed from last UA, which was changed from 5e. Twin Spell now, whenever you cast a spell, such as Charm Person or Hold Person, that can cast with a higher level spell slot, target an additional creature, you can spend 1 sorcery point to increase the spell's effective level by 1. So, cast Hold Person, spend 1 sorcery point, it casts as a 3rd level Hold Person, so you can target 2 people with it. Love the change, actually. Okay. They also said they're going to add, whenever they do spells, they're going to update a bunch of spells to be able to target more than 1 creature with upcasting, so this will affect more spells than it does now. Is what they said in their video.
Alright, and so then we have 2 subclasses, the Draconic and Wild Magic. So
yeah, that is because the other 2 subclasses that are going to be in the PHP are Aberrant Mind and Clockwork Soul, and they're like, yeah, these subclasses are good as is, so we're not going to change them. Which, yeah, it's fair. Yeah. They're the best subclasses for Sorcerer right now, anyway. So, Draconic Resilience now, instead of giving 13 plus Dex to AC, it gives 10 plus Dex plus Charisma modifier, so it's better now. That's really it. Nothing else matters. It's just it's an okay subclass. You have resistance, and you can add your charisma modifier to spells that deal.
Well, I guess they had changed it that you needed a spell to sprout your wings. Now you don't again.
Well, yeah,
they made it worse. They just made it unworse.
Yeah, they nerfed it And now they just said, yeah, we're back to the previous version it was. They basically just made it back to the 5e. So,
Oh, God.
Wild Magic Surge has the funniest line in this UA. Wild Magic Surge no longer requires DM permission. Great line. Basically, whenever you roll a spell, no more than once per turn, you can roll a d20 immediately after casting a sorcerer spell or a spell slot. If you roll a 20, it's a Wild Magic Surge.
Yeah.
And it tells you that if you can't apply meta magic, and if the spell would require concentration, you don't have to concentrate on it. It just lasts that minute. Great, cool, good clarification.
I mean,
Tides of
let's be
Chaos.
real. If your GM didn't want like wild magic, they just don't allow the class. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
they think
the
that
thing
maybe...
The thing is, before Wild Magic, it told you, ask your DM will tell you if you should roll for a chance of Wild Magic Surge. And that was it. So,
Yeah.
you get to work out with your DM how that would work, which is stupid. It should just be always rolling whenever.
I mean, I kind of get that. It might be like a fluff thing, like, oh, when you're mad or when you're, something like that. You could probably have
Yeah,
something like that. But at
but
that
what's
point, you could just talk with your GM about it anyway. So
But like
yeah.
at that point, you're playing a subclassless wizard, or sorcerer, basically. Unless you're certain situation, which is just why
you still have a 5% chance of activating wild magic on a dice roll anyway, so why not just allow them to roll it? Yeah.
Tides of Chaos now works the same, but immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell with spell slot, you can regain Tides of Chaos and then roll on the wild magic table.
Automatic
and
wild
you regain
magic.
Tides of Chaos. Great, love it. Before it said the DM could allow you to roll on the table and regain your Tides of Chaos. That was how it worked.
Allowed to do this?
You're allowed to use your subclass. I grant you privilege, child. Now, you could be like, man, I don't care about the consequences of this wild magic. I really need advantage. And boom. Great. Love it. It's lovely.
Yep.
Benluck, I think, is mostly the same. It just is cheaper now.
Yeah, cheaper now. And then we have
It's
Wild
not
Bump.
good. So.
What Benluck?
Yeah, Benlock, you spend your reaction and sorcery point to give someone a bonus or penalty of 1d4 to a roll.
Yeah. I guess
it's
being
pretty bad.
I guess that's why, like, reducing it to 1 instead of 2, because that's really bad if it was 2. I can see that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
literally some.
I mean, here's the question. It's not super clear, but can you use it after, like, a roll is made? So, like, oh, they hit. Okay, now I'm gonna do that.
I guess you'd have to see it says immediately after
Yes.
the creature you see rolls the d20 for a d20 test.
Okay.
So you could see the roll.
You know what roll it is, you would not know what bonuses would apply. If it's someone that's on your team where you're giving a bonus, more often than not, you have a general idea of it. But for an enemy you're giving a penalty, you have to kind of guesstimate whether it would be useful.
There is some situations in which this is useful, but it is only a d4.
I think it would be more worthwhile if the failing didn't spend.
Yeah, I
like they did with that fighter thing.
Yeah,
Or,
but it does. So Benluck still sucks.
So Wild Bombardment. Immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot, you can create an effect of your choice from the Wild Magic table, provided the effect casts a spell or restores all your expended sorcery points. I mean, that's just I cast a spell, I get all my sorcery point back if I want to.
It's great. It's so good.
You can only use this feature. You can't do it until you finish 1d4 long rests.
No. So
it's very silly though.
So basically, Wild Barber lets you roll on the Wild Magic search table to either get a spell effect or sorcery points regenerated, which is I think half of the options there. Keep in mind, one of those in that list is Fireball yourself.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I like it.
Or cast Blur on everyone in 30 feet of you. Or
still, like I can get
level magic missile.
That could be very powerful. That you could
it could be good or it could be bad, but that's honestly anyone playing a wild magic sorcerer is going to be like, I'm down for that because I like the chaos.
Well, this is also just your choice of one of them. When you cast a spell, once per 1d4 long rest.
Oh, true.
You get a wild magic of your choice, which could be really helpful. Or, again, just I get all my sorcery points back. Like,
which is honestly the best use of it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it could be very situated. And yes, it's a while before you get it back, possibly. But this could, like, turn the tides of something with, like, man, we're really beat up, we're low on supplies. Well, I have all my sorcery points back now, so let's just, don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, and you can use those to make spell slots. So.
I like that.
Warlock is Warlock in the previous UA was a half caster that could pick its casting stat and could do a bunch of things, and all of that's gone. It's now back to more of a 5e sort of Warlock, which most people wanted because Warlock was very unique in its casting, and it's something that like people wanted, right? They have given it buffs though to make up for the fact that it is a type of caster.
Yeah, the real reason they were thinking of changing it was just to prevent the dip level thing from being so powerful. If I remember correctly.
Except they didn't do that, so it didn't change anything.
Oh, they didn't?
Because in the previous one, you took one level and you could get charisma or wisdom to your attack. So it didn't change anything.
See, the thing I said about it is, what they did in the last time with the Warlock is they made it much more of just, it's also a sorcerer or also a wizard. When I wanted to go the opposite direction, I was like, thematically, I wanted it more like the older Warlocks. I wanted it comparable to those. There's always a complaint I have. Has this buff helped us in this direction? It's the question I have. Let's explore that. How is this better now? How have we improved our Warlock?
So, for one, Eldritch Invocations is now level 1 instead of level 2. Love it. And you get 2 more invocations over the course of your character level. Instead of 8, you're going to get 10. And you get them early, too. We have 5 invocations.
1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, we get a huge increase of them at early level.
I like that. Yeah.
So it's not
that's required.
Well, it's required for more reasons than you know coming up. So, in Warlock at level 3, before you would pick your Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Tome, or at level 1 in the past year, you would pick that. Those are no longer just things you get; they're invocations now, and they work differently. Okay. But it's great because now you can have a tome and your blade, or a familiar in your tome, or all 3.
You can get a lot of spells. You can get up to 5 before you can get it. Okay, so the number of spells known, you can stay the same spell slots.
Well, number of spells known is increased though, because unlike previous Warlock and 5e, where you get spells added to your spell list from your subclass, they're now just spells you know. So Warlock does have more spells known, not through the table, but through subclasses just giving you spells known instead of spells that you could know. So that's a good change, obviously. Pact magic works exactly the same as it does in 5e, except there's some differences. There's a couple spells added to the work spell list, namely Bane, Detect Magic, and Speak with Animals, and they can ritually cast now for spells they have known, unlike before.
Man, ritual casting, it turns out such a useful thing, and it's nice for them to have.
Magical Cunning is a new level 2 feature, very important. You spend 1 minute, and you regain half of your spell slots rounded up. Once per long rest. That's the big change. So now you don't have to short rest to get a spell slot back. At level 2, you get your 1 spell slot back. So you get half your spell slots back for a minute. At level 11, when you get your 3rd spell slot, you get 2 spell slots back in a minute. Great. That basically fixes most of the problems with Warlock casting, because if you cast 3 of your highest level spell slots, and like within 1 or 2 combats, that's kind of, probably the time you're short resting anyway.
Yeah.
As a warlock. So, that's the biggest change that kind of...
It's flexibility. That's good flexibility.
It just gives you more spell slots. Most of the time, you're going to search a room for a minute, right? The warlock does this thing. Level 9 feature that was from the last UA, Contact Patron. It's a higher feature, like level 13 or something. Now, level 9 feature, they always have Contact Other Plane prepared, and they can cast it without expending a spell slot to contact your patron. And you automatically succeed your saving throw. So at level 9, warlocks have a more direct way of communicating with their patron.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that they made that a whole level feature.
It's less of a feature, and it's like a spell as a feature, which they have a lot less of now than they did in the last UAs. But that's basically you have the spell and you can contact your patron. And honestly, I think this way of doing it's fine. Is because this spell is literally to contact other planar creatures. So like, why write out a whole ass thing when you could just be like, you have the spell and contact your patron?
I get it. Actually, okay, so I see. So you always have it prepared. It doesn't cost a spell slot only if you're contacting your patron, and you automatically succeed on the spell saving throw. Is that always, or just when contacting your patron?
When contacting your patron, I think. I would assume that's what it's...
Because it's in the way that the sentence is done properly, it's just for that.
Because of the comma, so it's part of that sentence.
Yeah. It would have probably been a separate sentences if it was wrong.
Normally, it's a int save, which is pretty bad for warlocks.
I forget what happens if you fail that.
You go insane for 24 hours.
Right, yeah. It was something really...
Not like I hurt friends insane. It's like, like dig holes or something. Just like you do something that you basically are you just long rest. That's it. You're done. Your character is a bit wild. You put them in the tavern and you watch them. A bunch of invocations. Yeah, a bunch of invocations changed. I will go over just a couple of the important ones. So the spells, Eldritch Sights, Eyes of the Runekeeper, and the one that gave you Beast Speech, which gave you at will speak with animals, detect magic, and let you read all writing. Those are all gone now because comprehend languages, detect magic, and speak of animals are on the warlock spell list, and you can ritually cast.
Yeah. So now, rather than being in invocation, you just take whatever spell.
It's a spell known that you pick.
And you don't even have to cast a spell slot because you can ritually cast.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So,
but it's just whatever one's known then.
Yeah, Agonizing Blast now can apply your Charisma Vital to any warlock cantrip you pick. So if you for some reason didn't want to use Eldritch Blast, you could technically pick Firebolt. What I would have liked to see is Warlock gets all of their cantrips scale like Eldritch Blast instead, and then have this change. So like they could pick Firebolt, or they could pick Ray of Frost or something, and fire multiple rays or something, and that would be cool. Instead, Eldritch Blast is still the only cantrip you're gonna pick because it's shooting beam, so it does more damage.
The only downside to the change for like the at will casting of like beast speech and stuff, time. I know.
Yeah.
But
I think that's fine, mostly because I felt a little cheesy. Eyes of the Runekeeper and Eldritch Sight specifically to like have at will of these abilities with no time constraint, because it kind of messes with some of the exploration aspect in a way where it's like
now like you have to deal with your barbarian raging and actually fighting through a dungeon if you want to cast it.
Yeah, it helps firmly separate exploration and combat stages.
Yeah,
which is, I think, a good thing to make a distinction from with game mechanics.
I agree.
Makes sense.
Faintest Vigor, instead of the weird game where you have to roll your D6 or D4 or whatever it was to get your max points from False Life, it now just gives you max HP from False Life at will. Quality of life change. I think every DM would accept you just getting max it because it's at will, but now it's just at will. Devil's Sight now works with dim light instead of just magical darkness. It now works with magical dim light. I don't think anyone realized it didn't, I'll be honest, but it now does.
I was gonna make a statement.
Wait, is there magical dim light?
Yes, there's
Twilight Domain Cleric.
yeah, Twilight Domain.
Okay.
So it does come up. It doesn't come up as much. I was gonna say,
yeah.
This is the one thing that I still would like, which you mentioned. I would like more abilities that, like, well, as we're saying, not just alter Eldritch Blast, but also like affect other cantrips. But I feel like they don't have a lot of those. Like Eldritch Spear is like,
well,
one of the
yeah, and that works with everyone.
That.
Yeah, but Lance of Lethargy, I think, only works with Eldritch Blast still. Or no, Repelling Blast only works with it. So like, it's like, well, you could have just gone one step further.
Yeah, and I would also like to see more of those kind of things because I think that was something that I'll let you go to second year. That was something that a lot of older 3rd edition and 4th edition warlocks did a lot. Is hey, my Eldritch Blast, I do different things to it as evocations to make it cool and be a little bit more versatile, and more interesting than I just have an Eldritch Blast. And yes, giving them other cantrips can do that a little bit. Why not have a little bit of that, like, multi-tool attack kind of thing that they used to have? I miss that.
Yeah. I kind of think it'd be good if you could switch it at a long rest instead of a level
up, yeah.
But even so, I do like the fact that it can apply to different things. For now, like a, Devil Pact, you can cast Fireball, and it can feel a little bit more specialized,
Yeah, even though you
or
should still just use
Firebolt.
Yeah, but it's still just worse than Eldritch Blast at level 5, which is just kind of like, fuck, bro. Like, you're so close. You're so close. You're this close. But
I really do feel like, I really like that about Baldur's Gate, is that they make the, like, cantrips do other things, which is so nice.
To quickly cover the last of these invocation changes, Ascendant Step, which was at will levitation, was at level 9. Now it's at level 5. Cool.
Here's just levitation.
Gaze of 2 minds. Now you have to be within 60 feet of the creature you're sharing your mind with. Before it was unlimited range, I think, which was broken. Lessons at the first one's a new one. It gives you a feat without a prerequisite, so that could be any level 1 feat, not the level 4 feats, which are from the first UA level 1 feats. Life Drinker does an extra d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage chosen upon hit. And instead of just healing HP, on a hit, you can roll you can expend a hit dice to heal HP. Master of Mirrored Forms, which was a level 15 invocation, which gave you At Will Alter Self, now is a level 5 invocation, which is a big change. Definitely worth it. It wasn't nearly as good for a level 15 invocation as it could have been. Otherworldly Leap, which is At Will Jump, is now level 2 instead of level 9. Jump is different now. The jump spell lets you, as a bonus action, spend 10 feet of movement to jump 30 feet of movement, I think. Or, no, it just lets you jump 30 feet of movement. So it's a bonus action 30 feet movement spell. Lasts a minute. Great spell now. Before it was useless. Thirsting Blade, which was your extra attack from Pact of the Blade invocation, now is back, and also at level 11 you get a 3rd attack, which is, I think, completely insane. And then a couple other things are lower. They don't matter.
I do also like that one, like with the Thirsting Blade, it requires you to have taken Pact of the Blade, which I mean is fine because then it's an option that you're taking that earlier and like setting up for a lot of these things.
You needed Pact of the Blade before anyway, so like
I know, but it's now more like it's invocation trees, which I don't want.
Yeah,
that's an interesting.
Yeah, the only problem is that Thirsting Blade gives you 3 attacks like a fighter at the same level as a fighter, which I don't think anything should get 3 attacks like a fighter, or everything should. But here we are, where warlocks are 3 attacking at level 11. for some reason.
It
With
might
the
encourage
charisma.
people to take it up to level 11 rather than level dip.
But I will say, the reason why this isn't actually that big of a deal is because all of the damage increasing feats in 1 D&D increase your strength or dexterity and not your charisma. So to go full in on charisma would mean you're actually dealing less damage still than a fighter, barbarian, or paladin that does it, or ranger, which is totally good then, right? Because now they are still good at combat and melee, but they're going to be less effective than a strength or dex-based class.
Yeah.
Wait, why does it? What makes it? Worse?
So all the level 4 feats in the third UA are half feats, so they increase a stat by 1. So
okay.
So Great Weapon Master on your first attack adds your proficiency bonus to damage, but it also increases your strength or dexterity, or I think it's just your strength. It increases your strength by 1, right? So if you're to take that feat, you're not increasing your charisma with your ASI.
Yeah.
But the fighter is increasing their strength, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry,
So
long day.
So that's you're good. So that's the difference. In the end, the warlock, to increase their damage, can't take the same feats as a fighter or barbarian or paladin. So in the end, it's less of a problem because the dipping power is weaker.
Yeah.
We have some things that have changed with patrons, with their subclasses. Looks like the big thing is all the patron spell lists, which now, you have all the stuff from your patron prepared, which I guess is a good change.
It was weird. It wasn't like that.
Oh, Dark One's Blessing now doesn't require you to kill steal.
Yes, they changed that in the last UA, I think. So that's a good change, but they're all changed. They're all good changes. Nothing.
Yeah.
TLDR.
It just looks like they just improved it. The big thing, of course, is that you just get those spells now. So it's extra spells that you have an option to cast. Wow, you have limited slots anyway. Why don't you just all know them?
Yeah, basically. There's nothing that's particularly interesting to go over. Well, there's one. A great old one patron.
Mm-hmm.
Level 3 ability, Psychic Spells. Whenever they cast the Warlock, whenever you cast a Warlock spell that deals damage, you can change its damage type to Psychic. Super cool. In addition, when you cast a Warlock spell that is enchantment or illusion, you can cast it without verbal or somatic components. They are super great at infiltration or
in some ways that's better
mind
than
fucking
magic. Jeez.
Yeah, but they're warlocks, so they're limited on the number of spells they have.
True. They only have very few within a period, but
and they also have the warlock spell list, which isn't good.
Yeah, when it was the arcane spell list, it would have been broken.
Yeah, it would have been way better if it was arcane spell list, but it's not the arcane spell list. It is a warlock, which if they don't change it, is kind of bad.
Honestly, it'd be kind of interesting if they made it so the different patrons had different spell lists. That would have been interesting.
That's way too much work for this indie team. This indie team, Wizards of the Coast.
No, I'm saying, yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, they could definitely do it, but they won't because.
And to end up with the updates, there is some updates to Wizard.
Yeah, Arcane Recovery is now level 1 instead of level 2. It was level 2 in the last UA.
That's very helpful.
Wizards can change their cantrips upon long rest instead of never.
Ooh.
Or the Tasha's Cauldron feature, which let them do that, but it was weird. It was a level 4 feature. I don't remember it exactly. Doesn't matter. Wizard Spellbook is now explained in the spellcasting feature instead of a separate feature.
That's nice.
The Scholar feature, which was in the last UA, didn't make a lot of sense in terms of usage. Now it gives you expertise in one of the 4 knowledge skills, Arcana, Religion, History, or Nature. You get expertise in one of those, meaning wizards are now the best in one specific study of thing. Makes wizards.
Oh, it's
wizards.
nice. They get a little expertise. That's nice.
Yeah. Not like, now a wizard will be the best in Arcana if a wizard puts expertise. Cool.
Memorize
History
spell is
and
now a
religion are all
feature
nice
rather than a spell. It was a spell?
Don't worry about it. So they made a feature spells because there was no real reason for it, but it was because they wanted the arcane, divine, and primal spell list. So like, this is a wizard spell thing. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, I'll be real, but they did it. I was like, I don't really care. It doesn't change anything.
Okay.
Oh no, someone can counterspell my ritual. I am so scared. Like, that's basically what it came down to. People are...
Alright.
they removed modify and create spell, which were basically free meta magics. They were way too strong for a wizard, and they made them literally just objectively the best. Now they're gone because they were too strong. Now spell mastery was nerfed. The level 18 feature. No longer can you pick any first to second level spell. You can only pick a spell that costs an action.
Okay.
So now you can't pick shield and have infinite reaction shields.
That's good.
Yeah. That's also infinite misty steps would also be pretty good.
Infinite reaction shields. That's something good not to have. I can agree with that.
But infinite reaction shields was a little powerful.
Just a tiny bit. That sounds a little.
No,
bit
I agree. That's a good. Although I'm kind of sad about infinite misty steps.
Sorry.
But Abjura got buffed. They removed. They changed for all of the 4 subclasses. You used to get like half off and double the speed to scribe spells of that type. That feature's gone because no one fucking used it ever. Now you get before if you're an abjuration wizard, you would get half the cost to scribe a abjuration spell.
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah, those are all gone. Now, whenever you take the subclass at level 3, you get 2 spells of that school of your choice. And every level you take afterwards that you gain a spell level, you get 1 extra spell of that school. So at level 5, you would get 1 level 3 abjuration spell. Level 7, you get 1 level 4. Cool, you get more spells of your school. Lovely, great.
That's nice.
Again,
I do feel like they really especially because GMs just don't give out spell books because it's just spell scrolls and stuff. It's so hard to manage as a GM. So
yeah. Arcane Word.
Yeah.
Arcane Word works basically the same way. Basically the same way. And now you can also use your bonus action to just spend a spell slot to increase your ward strength.
Okay, cool.
And it still increases when you cast an abjuration spell like before. But now you don't have to do I cast mage armor.
Oh man, the diviner ability is now a bonus action instead of an action, making it actually something useful. The third eye.
Third eye. Yep. It does things.
I mean,
I'll be honest, no one cared about any of the diviner features besides Porden. So Porden's still Porden. End of story.
Yeah, but certainly making that feature from a action to bonus action already makes it you might actually use it now.
Yeah, well, it's a good feature to be honest, but
yeah,
it's comprehend language,
dark vision,
and
see invisibility.
See invisibility.
Yeah.
Or till a short rest or long rest. So you literally you can activate this. You get one of those things, right? So if you're gonna fight invisible things, bonus action, I see all invisibility. It's fine. Evoker had a big change where their level
expert
3
divination
feature
isn't too bad. It just makes it so divination ones aren't as you can basically cast divination spells a lot more freely.
Yeah, that's how it worked in normal 5e, except it's now more restricted.
Sure.
Before it would be any level spell. Now it is only 5th and below that cycle it.
Yeah.
But it's a very meaningless. Oh no.
Well, you can cast
Actually,
a
it's
higher
literally
spell,
the
you
cycle.
just can't regain one.
Yeah.
That's higher than 5th.
So level 6 Evoker is now Sculpt spells, and level 3 is now Potent Cantrips. Potent Cantrips is if you miss a cantrip attack roll or the target succeeds a saving throw against your cantrips, they take half damage. Before that was
that's
level
nice.
6. That was your level 6 feature. Now it's your level 3 feature, and level 3 feature is now your level 6 feature, which is okay. You know, Sculpt spells at level 3 is still good because you have Shatter, but they're like Potent Cantrips is more useful at level 3 versus level 6, where level 6 is after you get Fireball and other area effect spells. It's
Makes
more
sense.
useful.
Yeah,
I
that
think
works.
it's fine.
Yeah, you need it sooner because, like, otherwise you're at that, like, it's harder to run out of spell slots later, but it's a lot easier to run out of spell slots sooner.
There's a couple changes to Illusion, but it's a wizard. I really didn't read it because I'm like, it's a wizard. It's good. Period.
Yeah.
It's just slightly moving things, improving them a little bit. Then let's see what from the
But so the jump spell is a bonus action to cast. Touch a creature. The creature can jump up to 30 feet by spending only 10 feet of movement. So basically, it's Baldur's Gate 3 jump without the bonus action
Which is
cost.
nice.
To jump. Yeah, makes the jump spell actually useful, and it can be upcast to target more than one creature.
Did they ever are they I don't know if they did in the past, but is True Strike any better?
No. Anyway, counterspell.
Because actually that's the one nice thing Baldur's Gate did is they made True Strike last 2 rounds.
Well, True Strike lasts the same amount of time in Baldur's Gate as it does in 5e. It just feels different. But True Strike lasts to the end of your next turn. And 2 returns is to the end of your next turn.
Okay. I still don't use it a lot in Baldur's Gate. I think I used it like
So that's why you only ever use True Strike in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, where it's a 1-action spell and you've got 3 actions.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible in 5e. But that's just because it's terrible. And it's terrible in Baldur's Gate, because it's still terrible.
Yeah.
Counterspell is very different now, so it should cover this.
Yeah.
They need it.
You attempt to... and Counterspell should honestly be a level 2 spell now, instead of level 3, because of how they changed it. So that should tell you something. You attempt to interrupt the creature in the process of casting a spell. The creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the spell dissipates with no effect, and the action, bonus action, or reaction used to cast it is wasted. If the spell was cast with a spell slot, the slot isn't expended.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it should really be like a level 2 spell now, not level 3, because it's not nearly strong enough to be a level.
Yeah, because they're not wasting their spell slot, which is something.
I feel like the purpose of this was more beneficial for players, because GMs casting counterspell on players was always really obnoxious.
Yeah, but it goes both ways, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And now, finally, enemies.
But I agree, this could be moved down to 2 now.
A creature could use its legendary resistance to like bypass your counterspell.
Yeah.
Legendary resistance.
Which is funny, I guess. But that is true. It could happen. That's basically it. Sorcerer's Burst is a different now. Instead of D6s, it's D8s that explode. Great. Cool. Love it.
Weapons have had a little bit of tweaking, but it's pretty much the same. Just moving around things and doing this stuff.
I will note the changes that matter. Flex property is now gone, and heavy is different.
Okay.
The heavy property is for strength. For heavy melee weapons, you require a strength score of 13. Unless if you don't have a 13, you have disadvantage. And for ranged weapons, it requires a dexterity of 13. So this means even more so for the warlocks using charisma, you still need a 13 strength to use your greatsword. Otherwise, you can't use it.
But that's also nice that like if you're the heavy crossbow, which is a heavy, you need dex to use it rather than strength.
Which is weird, but hey, it's fine.
It's neater. It works more.
The one benefit I'd say of Counterspell in this way is that you don't have to. It will always be a 3rd level spell. It doesn't matter about the level doesn't matter.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's actually partially a bad thing, because the cool thing about Counterspell is you could upcast it to guarantee someone missed a spell that was higher level. But now, even if you have to upcast it because you're at a level 3 slots, you don't get any benefit for it.
True.
So it's more of a double-edged sword there. But I think
this would be better if up. I feel like this could be better. I think they could move it down to level 2 and make the DC go higher for upcasting.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's what it was in the original. It was DC 10 plus the spells level.
Yeah, well, you didn't get a bonus on the check. If you cast at a higher level, it's either you negated the spell or you didn't. Yeah. So, like, if you cast at level 5, but the enemy caster is at level 6, you don't get a bonus because your spell's level 5, there's a 6. Compared to level 3.
Yeah.
That is a weird interaction.
The golf ball is spoken.
So, but
I guess we'll finish up though today with 3 small pieces of news, since this has been a very large thing here that's taken up most of the deep diving.
Honestly, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's fun to do these sometimes.
Yeah.
54 pages.
We'll talk a little bit more about this first one here, but because Momo, who's in chat right now, but is going to be back hopefully next week, wanted to talk about it. Hey, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has another announcement trailer. That thing that was announced years ago and then disappeared into the ether will theoretically happen again, maybe? Who knows? We'll see. But it's a big thing. So Sing's about to talk about that. Because it's had a cursed development cycle. We'll talk about it a little bit and some updates that are related to that were at PAX West. We'll probably do that next week, but just if you want to look into it a little bit, they do have a trailer out already, which I can throw the trailer out for people to see. Just to also finish up, because they had to, Magic the Gathering, you know what they did? They made a anime trailer for their new thing, because it had to be anime, and I don't know why, for their Wilds of Eldraine. I'll link that from YouTube too. It doesn't always have to be anime now. This is one of those ones that I think would better not to be anime. Just gonna say that. That's all I wanted to say about that one. I wanted to make that comment. And the last main topic for today, speaking of animation, is if those of you who like Star Trek Adventures, there's a Star Trek Adventures, the animated series book that they're coming out with Modiphius. Because that's a thing that we all remember, is Star Trek the Animated Series. The animated sequel to the original series Star Trek. Blaze is still a track. He bought that at one point and watched through it. I think I have never seen the full thing of Star Trek the Animated Series. Do either of you even know that existed?
Yeah, I know about it.
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew about it. It was to finish, because it was supposed to be their 5-year mission, and then, got canceled, and then they brought it back. They decided to do, an animated thing for, the last 3 years or 2 years or whatever it was. It was supposed to be 5 seasons.
Yeah, it was supposed to be some of the extra seasons they never got to do. It was weird, and it got all the people that did voice actors, and it had some very unique things there. And yes, the hot cat lady. Anyway, it was a thing. And there's a supplement out for now if you want to check it out on Menery. Alright, I think we've had a deeper discussion topic enough, so if anybody... Let's see what people did this week. Okay, let's start with Worm. Did you do anything interesting this week? Just to ask. Other than Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, I finally did, the introductory part. Well, I finally got through the most introductory part where I found the druid and rescued him. That's the first mission, first main quest mission you get. Well, besides get off the Nautilus.
Took you quite a while to do that. I'm not gonna lie.
I play like 4 hours a week, and I also am one of the people who gets distracted by everything. I'm playing a very ADD run. Ooh, a hole in the ground. Ooh, I rolled a check here. I wonder if something's... What's this shiny thing over here?
So, you certainly did a lot more than I did this week, other than Wednesday. Any other interesting games that you had?
I don't know. I mean, we talked about the game we played Thursday. That was it.
Oh god, that's right. I was there on Thursday, so that's all you did. Oh, you got cancellations.
All my other games got canceled.
Wow. So then it was just Wednesday and Thursday that we both had together.
Yeah. Spent a lot of days with you, Tantus. Okay, I think we're gonna have to separate for a while. Okay.
2 days a week. It's so much.
It's 3 days in a week. Okay.
It's fine. So yeah, Wednesday, if you missed it, Buccaneers Shackled Sea, your group finished up, going to gather together for a, vote of non-confidence meeting, all the members of the Pirate Council that matter, and then you had some adventures in Absalom, because, why not recruit military assistance, for some people to help you? Oh, hey, Momo showed up. Hi.
So, you forgot the Sunday game, my dude.
Oh, we haven't played the Sunday game yet. I forgot about it, too.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that yet, because I haven't been on the show.
We're playing Lost Mine.
I mean, yeah.
Fireball everything. That's it. That's all that happened.
That was not on...
Lost Mine's supposed to be like first to third level?
Lost Mines is technically first to fourth, but I bumped up a level. Anyways, on Sunday last week, we fought a bunch of sassy lizards, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tantus got to experience a raccoon on Thursday. Okay, bye.
I'll be honest, I don't even remember what happened last Sunday. Okay, I'm like, look, I have to be playing the game to remember what happened. I don't remember.
All I can remember now is that on Thursdays I am playing James, the man out of reality from that location, who's the buffest of barbarian mans, who's very smart and very wonderful. I think that describes him well. I don't know. James is a unique flower that everybody enjoys. Thank you. And there was a raccoon there. Look, I did enjoy coming in on that game. But I gotta be honest, you might know more about what's going on Thursdays, because I really don't very well yet.
We're stopping a extraplanar invasion from
people.
That's literally all you need to know.
I don't even know that as my character, I think. My knowledge is I showed up, joined with you, and we are going to some Arctic area. And that's about it.
We're gonna talk to some ancient people that are everyone's stupid but us.
Let me lay down how your introduction went, right? You entered the party, introduced to the party. No one told you anything was happening. They dragged you on an airship, and then you had to fight a spaceship.
Ask.
Look, I didn't, but also it just was a perfect introduction. That was what I knew. I was like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Okay, I was asked to join with these guys. Neat. Where are we going? Cool.
To be fair, my character is 8 intelligence. He assumed you were caught up.
No.
So,
enjoy Arctic hellscape.
I want to say one more thing that happened to me that was fun on Baldur's Gate.
Ooh.
This actually happened today. There's this phase spider matriarch.
Great one.
Yeah, and it's a terrible... It was kicking my butt, and then it disappeared.
Yeah,
I found out... Oh. And then I found out what happened to it. It fell down a pit and died.
Yeah, you can throw that bitch down a pit.
I didn't throw it down a pit. It fell down the pit on its own. It was kicking my butt.
Do that sometimes.
Fun with pits.
Anyway. That was fun. I was just like, where did it go?
Anything else this week anybody has, or is that it? I can't think of anything else. My brain's... It's been a long day. And I ran out of iced tea a little while ago in the middle of our very deep discussion on 7th playtest.
Yeah, I saw you were just talking about that for 2 fucking hours, it seems. Since you got to no other topic.
There really wasn't
Honest-
a lot of.
well,
There is nothing
the
else
doc-
on the docket.
There really wasn't.
Yeah,
Actually. I actually checked. There really wasn't anything else this week. Especially if we're gonna wait to talk a little bit about Vampire and the Curse development.
Teach people about the state of World of Darkness next week.
All I know
okay.
is I pre-ordered that game in 2020. 3
Yeah.
years ago.
Yep. No, I still haven't canceled mine.
I didn't either. I
No.
forgot it existed. I said to myself, this will be a bit of a surprise when it comes out. It's like a gift to myself in the future.
Really well played. Anyway. Well, I think that's it for today, because I can't think of anything else important to chat about. And we had something equivalent to a deeper discussion. I'm just going to call it Playtest 7 today. God. You know, this is today, Playtest 7. Thank you everyone who joined us today. Thank you to, of course, the people that guessed out and helped us a lot with the discussion. Worm, thank you very much. Cell, thank you very much. Thank you, Momo, for popping in here.
Yeah, special guest appearance for the last 5 minutes.
Just to BM me,
Yeah,
geez.
exactly.
Yeah.
You do this every session. All right, you didn't have to do it in real life too.
Any of you have anything to shout out?
Yeah.
Just Worm, I can shout out.
There's a stream.
Yeah, I stream tomorrow, most likely. Something might come up. I explained it on the end of my stream, but whatever. But I'm trying. My goal is to stream tomorrow.
To shout out correctly.
Yeah. 10:30 PST, which is 1:30 EST.
Sal, do you have anything to shout out?
Wednesday, be there or be square.
Yeah, we are getting close to the end of everything. It'll probably be at least another half a dozen sessions, I think, at this point. But depending on how things go, I think we're doing pretty good. So we'll see. All right. I'm gonna say for myself, remember to check things out on both YouTube and Twitch sides. YouTube sides go up usually a couple days after later. Twitch sides, I would say, remember to check out Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday mornings for where I talk about some tabletop topics. Tuesday, Thursdays, early afternoon. Saturdays, usually late morning. I also do some gaming streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Keep an eye out for those. This week will be the Super Mario RPG randomizer. I'm going to try that out on Monday, see how that works. And then Little Witch on Wednesday, Fallout 4 on Friday. Buccaneers Shackleseed, Wednesday at 9 p.m. EST. Join us live for that. And of course, this show every Saturday at 6 p.m. And I think that's all the major shout-outs of everything. I have social media stuff, which is Discord and a Twitter.com. Linked below, where I say some stuff and sometimes make relevant, intelligent things other than just a schedule. Anyway, I'm going to say this has been a nice episode. Thank you once again to all my guest hosts today. Farewell, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, I can throw it out here that people might care about it, just because in case you show up, I will be at PAX Unplugged as media this year. So let me know if you're joining in one of those places, and I will be there. So, we'll see you. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.